Tripsar was a company in the early 2010s developed by two young University of Waterloo students. It was a database and a conduit to excursions in cities and communities around the world that you could tap into on a trip or a vacation. It was shut down, basically slightly ahead of its time. What if you could do that with recreational activities in your own community, as well as anywhere you wanted to go? Activities like arts groups and clubs, through to challenging the way hockey opportunities are offered. A database that suppliers of activities could access and update easily, and consumers could access to register. Hmm. Today's guest at Exit 425.
In the main corridor of exit 425.
Local politicians to connect with families.
What are some unique challenges?
Thanks very much, Steve, for having me.
Exit 425. It's where we live. Don Rockbrune is a guy that generates a lot of interesting ideas and infuses outrageous amounts of passionate energy, almost as much positive energy as his wife, Melanie. One of the crazy ideas Don had was to revolutionize how hockey players could access game and development opportunities. Don calls it Insportify, and it may just change how you do stuff. Don, thanks for meeting me here at Exit 425.
Thanks, Steve. I appreciate being here.
Insportify is a twist on how we experience sports and recreation and potentially so much more. What motivated you to go beyond the idea stage with this idea?
The idea was planted many years ago when I started a Facebook group that just grew out of control. The idea kind of grew itself. I really just wanted to go out and play something. I'm a guy with a lot of interest. I like to go play different things, try different stuff. I bought my wife a book called 4 Hour Work Week, and I read it before I gave it to her mistakenly, and it kind of sent my brain into a whole bunch of different directions. Damn you, Tim Ferriss. But it got me thinking a lot about, I'd come into hockey, child divorce, stopped playing hockey when I was 9, didn't get back into it until I was 36. And I thought to myself, I should be able to do this. There's nothing really stopping me from really competing and whatnot. And that's, I guess, the magnet that attracted a lot of people to the conversation. And then I had two sons, and they started playing hockey, and you just get trapped in the hockey world. It's a lot of fun. It's a really great sport, a really difficult sport. It's complex. Anybody involved in it can tell you that. But the group, was just such a big group. It was really hard to really lead. As anybody who runs a Facebook group can tell you. And what I really did was just post up a PDF twice a year of all the open shinnies that were around Durham region, and just gave people a heads up, where you could drop in and come play with me and do whatever you want to play. And it was fun. But I think in the later years, I started discovering, we could do a little bit more with the technology. Why not automate those lists? Certainly make my life a little bit easier. And that was really the big goal is automating people's ability to be engaged. Of course, it's grown much more since then. And we continue to work on it to every second of the day.
How does Insportify help me as a supplier of an activity and then as a consumer? And is there any type of recreation that does not fit the delivery platform?
Well, we really wanted to amplify grassroots. If you can't capture people's imagination or desire to be involved, it's really not a thing. You're just a consumer at the end. We really, really want people to explore sport. It's really great. We all know the benefits of being involved in a community. We know the benefits of playing sport and exploring all those options. We're really fascinated by the idea of creating a sustainable pathway for people. So for consumers, the idea is you come in whenever you come in and you stay with us to the very end, I guess, playing, maybe start in hockey, you go to baseball, maybe you end up in some other sport. Pickleball is obviously the popular one these days, popular sports will always be popular. But we also like the idea of exploring niche sports because our body has got a multitude of different muscles and no one sport, exercises every muscle. So having diverse sports, having a pathway, maybe you leave minor sports, you're going into your adulthood. We're trying to click on those boxes. Uh, we haven't fully explored every sport. There's 169 different sports in Sportify. I'm going to bet that each sport will have a different experience, and it's probably less about the sport as it is about the sport event type. Perhaps golf might be challenged by using Sportify, but maybe there is, like, we have equipment demos. So now somebody who not specifically looking to play golf but is looking to go try some golf clubs in a group setting with a particular manufacturer, they could really use something like this. So it's sort of multi-dimensional. It's not just the sport. It's not just athletes. It's the event types. What do you want to do in sport? Maybe you just want to watch. Maybe you want to, be part of a charity event. You've never played the sport, but you just want to give back. All these different types of event types, they're all there. The idea is to create really a robust personal calendar for these consumers, and certainly for organizations. This gives them a great dive right into their clients, the potential people that they are trying to serve, giving them all the options that they're not aware of. And it's a two-way street, so the information, each person's profile is protected, it's secure, but the data says, hey, this person wants to play this. Maybe the organizations didn't know that person even existed before, so now we can create programs that didn't exist before. It just really shortens up those long detachments, as it were, and you build community. So which sports doesn't it work with? I'm not going to say that there's any sport that it won't work with. It's just what kind of event type you want to host, really.
Without changing the name to Inartify, I mean, I could see a lot of potential for, having arts opportunities on this database as well, because, talk about underfunded and, just not enough exposure. Dance classes, it could be, drama classes, drama groups, different things like that. Have you ever explored Inartify?
Well, I don't think we use that word particularly, but yeah, I mean, in Sportify, the social media platform, because it is a social media platform, is just a template. It can be used for any activity, really. Sport is the obvious one for me right now. I have considered things like education. I've considered things like the arts community. That's a pretty broad-based idea. But I think these things will reveal themselves as they come out, and that I'm involved in, coincidentally, know that I'm involved in a little bit of the arts and stuff like that. And certainly in my non-sporting time, I spend a lot of time, in studios and playing with instruments, and my wife, of course, being the drama teacher that she is. There's lots of opportunity there. I think we have a way of democratizing activity. We're not waiting around for a government agency to identify a need and then spend millions, if not billions of dollars, trying to prop up something or trying to discover where there's a gap being created. We're identifying those barriers. We're bridging those gaps. We're building pathways, and it all just happens because you tell us you want to do something, and that's then we go do that. It should ideally be a bit of a party. You should enjoy your experience. You should have opportunities to, whether it's dance. I mean, I guess dance is a sport. It's in there, so now it starts to bleed over into the arts. There's a lot of art. The sport in itself is an art. So it's probably not a huge leap to jump over, but most of the social media platforms out there just don't really do it very well. I mean, that's the kind of catalyst that set me down this road. To have a group is just a group, but if it isn't a group that actually does anything, if it doesn't have a healthy environment, if it's a good positive environment, it's a problem, right? And I work with lots of different organizations that really have told me they need what I do. They keep me going. So
Excellent. So that goes into my next question that I have for you, and that's, how long have you been operating in Sportify, and what are some success highlights? I know that you've got some from along the road here.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I love meeting people. My success feels like when I have a conversation with somebody I wouldn't normally have a conversation with, I feel that's like a milestone of success. It's tough. I'm an entrepreneur. I don't think there's an entrepreneur in Canada who will tell you that it's an easy road. Validating an idea is tricky. Funding is even trickier. Everything I've done with Insportify has been out of my pocket. I pay for it through hosting, Shinny, and I think it's successful. But I mean, I'm 52 years old. Yeah, it's getting a little hard on the body, but I'm sure that the conversations that I'm having now with some government bodies, some major sports organizations, I believe that we're sort of on the cusp of being able to deliver. They're just testing me out. They're just testing the idea. I 100% understand and respect that. They want to make sure that I'm here for the right reason and that the idea is solid. I've been doing this, the Facebook group, I think 2012 perhaps. It was when it started, and no, actually longer because I'm older than my son, so longer than that. But I did incorporate as hockey.ca because the project was a hockey-based project in 2018. And we pivoted to Insportify when we realized everything we were doing for hockey, we could actually do for every sport. It's the algorithm just got bigger. The AI got bigger. AI is a big hot button keyword for so many people. Well, we have some really great work in the background. The security is amazing. I've got some great partners who have worked really diligently on making sure that the platform is secure, because we want to make sure everybody gets what they want, but they don't get what they don't want. You know what I mean? So we feel that this is a social media platform that's really going to make your social experiences incredibly better. And maybe my audience will tell me what direction they want Insportify to go to next. What template would you like to see happen? I can't be the only guy, my own echo chamber, but I think when people start exploring it, they're going to understand deeply what we can do.
That's awesome. I love the term democratizing activity and democratizing sport, and even wrenching it from the hands of the big associations who we
The
often
gatekeepers.
lean on, the gatekeepers who
Yeah.
often we lean on to provide the activity, and I think it's terrific.
Yeah.
So sometimes change is embraced and sometimes it's shunned. What are you hearing from folks basically about Insportify?
Well, I certainly have conversations with a lot of people, as I mentioned, and it would be great for somebody to tell me, no, it's a bad idea. That would help me. That would help me slow down and go, okay, I'm gonna just change direction. But the idea just gets broader, and you begin to understand that the positive that can come out of this. It's why it's a passion project. I just see a lot of people struggling in their lives. I see, people who look like they're in control. We can certainly take a look at rep families in hockey. They look like they have everything going for them, but I tell you, it is a struggle to get your kids there, to keep them motivated, to pay your bills, to have the right equipment, to have everything line up takes a great deal of resources, and it's sort of a sad scenario, but it's one that I'm immersed in. I've coached hockey. I still work with kids and stuff like that, but I think the capacity in which I work has been more of an advocate. I want to advocate for people, not just the athletes, but the volunteers and the families. And having something like Insportify really, really helps that. As for shunning, there's been real pushback at all. There's nothing quite like it. It's very straight goods. It's not, it's not. I'm not making money off of a vulnerable person at all. It's quite simply just connecting the dots for somebody. And in fact, probably, I have to assume that most people will never ever encounter me in their lives, but this tool will be there. And it's something that, we live in an era where data is really important, and your data is important. And these organizations, they spend millions of dollars trying to amass data to create programs, for probably the best intentions. I don't want to make it sound like big corporate sport is out to get everybody, but there are definitely some examples where maybe sport has not delivered on its investment, as it were. And so we really want to make sure that people get their return on investment, that, the kid that's, in grade 10 who's struggling with school, but can't give up a little time because he's in a rep sport, he should or she should be able to take a step back, get rebalanced, and be able to come back in. And I think something like Insportify certainly can fill that gap for not just them, but the volunteers, again, the organizations. We mentioned kind of gatekeeping and stuff like that. I think the gatekeeping sort of happened. In Canada, sport is a monopoly. We have these national sports organizations that trickle down to provincial, to municipal, and they're all there to help each other and kind of maintain a system. But it's those systems that have created a lot of the problems that we see in the news every day, and the ones we feel. So as long as they exist, I see no reason to slow down or stop. It's my job to make it easier for all those parties to have a better experience, right? So I don't think anybody's going to push back on me, and I'm not in anybody's pocket. Nobody said what I should or shouldn't do, and I've been very careful about that, not entering into partnerships with the organizations that I didn't think would be the same vision, the same values. I tend to actually veer on the outside. I try to amplify. Some of I'm involved in parasports. I volunteer. I look at their experience and I try to think of their experience into a mainstream scenario and back and forth to try and to build them together, and I don't need a sports drink to sponsor me. I have no interest in selling a sports drink to a 10-year-old. Water's good. The water's all you need. That there you go. You're balanced again. You're back to reality, right? So that's been the popular thing to do, and I get it. I get why those things exist. But I would hope for something better for people, so that they can still show up to hockey with a no-name bottle and still have a good hockey experience, right? So, the Major League Sports, I think, has kind of hit a spot where I think that struggle at grassroots is hitting the major leagues right now, honestly. So, I think there's a great deal of interest from Major League Sports. Not to be critical of them, but they need this. They need this injection.
And part of the reality is no system will accommodate everybody that it's intended to accommodate. And so, if you're providing opportunities for people to, as you said, if they're taking a step back from sport, but they don't want to get out of it completely,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't fit well with the systems that we have
Right.
that are in place. But the Insportify can provide some alternative programming that they can still remain engaged with the sport, or ultimately all the activities that we've talked about today. So,
Yeah.
what's next for Insportify, Don? And what's next for Don Rockbrune?
Well, what's next for Insportify? The platform we're working on now, importing all the programs across the country, hopefully, in conversation with some of the private organizations to start putting their events in. Really test the waters. The next year is going to be demonstrating what we can do, and maybe hopefully we'll have some real success sooner than that. We're hoping that some of the government agencies see the possibility to help themselves by helping us, and just keep doing that. For Don Rockbrune is going to keep banging his head against this wall until it busts open, and I'll continue to work with kids in sport, try to make sure that everybody's served best as an athlete as much as possible, and certainly talk a few parents off a ledge. These are just parts and parcels of the craziness of sport. Next thing for Don Rockbrune is to, one, carry on what I'm doing technically, keep on pushing. My wish list for Insportify continues to grow, despite my tech team's desire to continue, but I'll keep working them. I'm sliding into the podcast world, as you may have already heard. So there's some opportunities there. It's time for me to spend less time with the tech and a little bit more time with the public and kind of explain what I'm doing, and certainly start having more conversations. Conversation's a great thing, and nowadays, especially with the world the way it is, and just enjoy my life. I really play hockey. Yeah.
That's awesome. Um, Thank you, Don, for meeting me here at Exit 425. I always appreciate the time my guests take out of their day to spend a bit of time talking about who they are and what they're doing. How can people reach out to you to use or discuss Insportify?
Well, they can find me on most platforms, certainly on Facebook, LinkedIn. They just look up Don Rockbrune or Insportify, and one of them will link back to me. They certainly can reach out to me. My phone number, 905 442 5618. I much more prefer a phone call or a text than email because my emails keep getting more and more. I think most people have that problem. But I'm always open to talk to partnerships and talk to new opportunities and getting people playing, to try to make a healthier lifestyle for themselves.
That's awesome. Thank you very much. Thanks once again for taking the time to join me today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Exit 425. Please like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform and on YouTube. Our mission is to provide substantial information and education that goes where you want, because it's where we live. Exit 425 is a production of Studio 38 Audio, copyright 2024. My name is Steve Ray. If you have any questions or would like more information about Exit 425, join our Exit 425 Facebook group. Like the Facebook page, check out Instagram, Medium, LinkedIn, X, and TikTok, or email me at exit425-401@gmail.com. Exit 425. It's where we live.